the central concept is the fact that all people are of equal worth, worthy of the same respect, care, attention. We live in such a polarised and divided world at the moment, and people choose to focus on the differences between us all rather than the many things that unite us. So that is the basis of the whole project. The functional end of cutlery is all really couldn't be more different. A spoon would be very round, a knife would be sharp, a fork is obviously, you know, how it is. So I wanted to see if it would be possible to have one kind of blank of metal that overall shape would work for each element of the cutlery, but just starting with this one original shape and that being used as a knife, a fork and a spoon.
Designing brilliant contemporary cutlery is a challenge because there's loads of cutlery out there. It feels something that we're really familiar with, and how is there any space to do anything new? This is really pushing the boundaries of what cutlery could be. Often the ones that win aren't just like a lovely aesthetic thing, they have a fantastic foundation in the concept. It's that perfect marriage of concept and realisation that makes something incredibly special.
The Contemporary Cutlery Design Competition is an annual competition to design a contemporary set of cutlery consisting of a knife, a spoon and a fork.
This is a really important competition because not only is it saying, oh, we're going to give an opportunity to young designers and makers to conceive of their dream cutlery, it's also saying we commit to getting the winner made. But then on top of that, there's the commitment to the time frame in which this is happening. This isn't just 1 year or 5 years or 10 years. This is a 100-year competition. And that's a real statement for the world of design to say we're committed to the evolution of this and to the long-term legacy that something like this can really embed in British design culture.
We started the competition because we wanted to reconnect with our trade.
If we look back at the heritage of the Cutler's Company, going back now over 600 years from when we had our first Royal Charter, establishing the cutlery competition gives us a link with that heritage.
It has this wonderful legacy at the final point of the competition where the finished cutlery joins the collection here and people are able to engage with it and use it here at the hall.
Any student currently studying or recently graduated from an art, design, craft course within the UK can apply. The range of institutions who take part in this competition range from the Royal College of Art to local community colleges, which is fantastic.
The last couple of years, the range and the diversity of people and institutions who are entering the competition has really increased. So, for example, there are jewellers, there are silversmiths, there are blacksmiths, there are people who may have never designed cutlery before who are now entering, and I hope that that influence only just widens and increases.
What I think is great about the competition is that everyone's kind of on a level playing field, everyone submits their designs and you're judged purely on the merits of that design, which is I think it's a lovely idea.
The designs are received here at Cutlers Hall. We compile them all and the judges, they then come to Cutlers Hall and see all the designs laid out along with any prototypes. Then they make their selection. Once we've announced the winner, we invite the winner into a workshop to work on a final prototype before we get the design made professionally.
I love it when you receive a submission that includes prototypes because that's a moment where something has to become three-dimensional. And even if you're just using cardboard and a bit of string, you're thinking, what might this be like in space, over time, in a hand, by a plate, on a table? I never fail to be impressed by the overall quality of the submissions for the competition. Like, the calibre is really high, but what really blows me away is what we end up with. Like, the journey that people go on from a design to this finished thing is just outstanding. And at the end, you're holding something in your hand that has never been made before, never existed before.
In my opinion, the quality of the entries and the entrance for the competition is incredibly high, and I'm always struck by the fact that such a simple brief results in such a really interesting, diverse and wide range of designs.
The quality of the final pieces are always surprising, and we are very, very lucky to work with some very skilled makers to help us make these pieces.
For me, the competition here draws a very effective line between working with a history and a background of industrial manufacture and bringing individual voices and ideas and methods of expression into that.
It's really useful having a live project as opposed to kind of an imagined project. The live projects always draw the best out of the students. This idea that you need to have strict parameters, and this project offers really strict parameters within which to kind of force the students to make decisions. We often bring the students into the hall. They can envisage where the designs will sort of sit. It gives them something for their CV, and it gives them something, a sense of belief that they can actually achieve in that realm.
I think this year's winner is notable for its simplicity and usability. It's compact, it's a great concept, it almost looks like a set of military cutlery you could carry around in a backpack but wouldn't look out of place on a banqueting table.
This year's design is a really strong one. Like, Alex's work is captivating. There's something about the simplicity of it and the elegance, but also the intelligence of it that really strikes me as like, this, I want this to exist and I can't wait to hold it.
We'll be going to Sheffield to visit the manufacturers, which will be really interesting to see how things are made. So I think having the actual item in the finished material is really important. I like the fact that steel is a traditional material in the cutlery world, so I'm glad that I can use that for my set. So I would be interested to actually see the order of how they do things. We think how it's going to be done is they'll each be laser cut out individually and then put into some type of press former that will then curve each sheet. So it'd just be so interesting to see the whole process and the options.
So they're still tagged into.
Can I hold one?
That's 1.2.
Once the edge is broken, I think that's the thinnest I would go, because you can feel already what it does. And particularly if you would have a knife and you want to cut something, it's the thicker edge. But if it goes any thinner, you have marks in your finger. Part of the prize winning is also that we educate them, that we give them exactly that sort of understanding. What is the development and how many stages you go through.
It felt really nice to win. I was really pleased because tradition, history, craftsmanship, they're all things that mean a lot to me. So to have my work as part of the Cutler's Hall collection is something I'm really pleased about. Me and my classmates of the course, we all realised that in getting awareness and exposure for your work is incredibly difficult, almost as difficult as actually designing and creating the item in the beginning.
I think over recent years they've had some very, very interesting designs that really weigh up that balance between functionality and originality. So a couple of my favourites over the last couple of years was the extension of the body set of cutlery, where the cutlery actually fitted onto your hands, so you're having a really interesting engagement directly with the cutlery. Another of my favourites was Militza Milenkova's design from a couple of years ago, and what she did was she brought in elements that were really unexpected and unfamiliar into the design of her cutlery, so that using those pieces of cutlery actually felt very unfamiliar. So that changed the way that people had that dining experience.
I think it's a widespread thing. I feel like I love food, but I tend to devour it as well. And I always feel like it's such a shame that we spend so much time preparing the food or waiting for the moment that we're going to eat it, and then we just eat it within 5 minutes and then it's done. My entry was called Slow Down, and through the design I made, I wanted to encourage people to enjoy food in a slower manner. I was thinking about how every individual holds cutlery in their own way and how we tend to eat really quickly. So I wanted to change that, and I thought of what if I make them hold it in a different way than the one they're used to. Then they would be a bit confused, therefore they would slow down.
So we love originality, we love quirkiness. An element of fun is always nice to see.
The thing that excites me about this competition the most is seeing just how important it is to them.
First and foremost, just having a competition shortlist on my CV is quite big. Definitely boosts it in that way. And I think it's just really made me realise what I want to specialise in going ahead into the professional world.
the look on the face of the prize winners when they look around Cutler's Hall and they see the history of the place, it's just priceless.
Prize-giving evenings here at Cutler's Hall are really, really lovely, and there's a real sense of achievement, and I think it's really inspiring.
The thing I love most about this competition is the engagement with the students. They are such a vibrant, generous, quirky crowd, and it is delightful to see their designs, and they're very supportive both of the competition and of each other. The competition is 5 years in, and I think we've managed to grow it beautifully. I think the outside world is most certainly sitting up and taking notice, and I hope long term it will be a springboard for lots of new makers and designers.
I think that it's quite a powerful idea that there's behind the competition. Like the fact that it's going to span over 100 years, I find it very moving actually.
I'm really pleased that my work will be part of the permanent collection here at Cutler's Hall. You know, it's a historic, a really important part of London's history.
At the end, just that vision of a banquet with 100 different sets of knives, forks and spoons being used and really commemorating a big, deep period of time, I think that's real impact.
By 2116, we will have 90 odd pieces of cutlery, and every diner will have a unique set of cutlery.
This competition is increasingly important for the company. I see the number of entries increasing year on year. The colleges are all tied in with it, and we love that.
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's going to have to be the spoon, because the spoon is soft and quite tactile, and I have a favourite cereal spoon at home, of course.
I have grown very fond of the forks because I think that they're the quirkiest ones.
Fork. I go for a fork because I can do without a knife, I can do without a spoon, but you're not really going to get spaghetti with a spoon or a knife, are you? I eat spaghetti a lot. I like pasta. As a student, pasta is number one.
At home, I mainly use the spoon. My spoon that I kind of use every day comes to a bit of a point, so it functions as a knife as well.
Spoon every time.
Why?
Because it's so direct, it's wonderful. It's the most simple, basic, rudimentary element.
Spoon is a very democratic kind of thing, and it's also the first principle of a spoon. So you have something like this, and you have a stick.
Spoon. I love a spoon. I think for me the spoon is a really generous human shape and object, and there's something very intimate about it. Like the whole thing can go in your mouth.
The spoon is usually the first and the last piece of cutlery that a human being learns to use, and I find that endlessly interesting.
As a cutler, I'm forced to say that of the items of cutlery, the knife has got to be my favourite object, because that's what we always made.